So here we have the Actions tab. As you'll see, some of it's already pre-populated for us, so we automatically get an unarmed strike. You can suppress these if you'd like. We also have Rapier, Short Bow, Hunter's Bow. These are the items that I just added to the inventory. And we also have the Nimble Dodge reaction because we have the Nimble Dodge feat. So there are several feats that grant actions, and if they do, they'll typically show up here. Otherwise, there are lots of other actions in Pathfinder that you can take. So we can open it up, and there's certain things like sneak. We're going to sneak a lot, so maybe we want to have that handily on our sheet. So we can put it there. We can open it up. And if the GM wants the description, we can also pop it into chat. Same with Nimble Dodge as a reaction. There you go. So you can add as many different actions as you like to your sheet. It's entirely up to you. Otherwise, if we're using ranged weapons, particularly things with bows, you'll have to set the arrow. You'll also notice that when I grab this, it's added a new toggle box to say if the attacker is hidden, undetected, or unnoticed, because that's a feature of this particular bow. If I draw my rapier, I don't get that same thing, but I always have my Nimble Dodge toggle. Let's say I want to Nimble Dodge on my next available time. I can tick the Nimble Dodge button or box, and you'll see that my armor class goes up by the +2. If I want to make this a little bit easier and not have to go back to the sheet all the time, I can click on the box, drag it to my macro bar, and make an instant hotbar button. It'll toggle it on and off, and you can do this with pretty much every toggle. From here, with the rapier in hand, I can strike. I can roll damage. And I can roll critical damage. The rapier itself has the deadly 1d8 trait, which means that if you're rolling a critical, you get a free d8 of die on top of doubling the 1d6 plus 4, which would be your dexterity modifier plus the 1d6 for the weapon. And so that's all built in automatically. Additionally, if we add ourselves a two-handed weapon, here I can draw that two-handed weapon with one hand, but I can't really use it because this weapon can only be used to strike two-handed. So if I sheath my rapier and change the grip, which does cost an action, now I can strike or roll damage. Because it is a martial weapon that I'm not trained in, you'll notice that the modifier is +0, as opposed to the +7 that I have for, say, unarmed attacks. The system does not force you to have hands defined, so I can have all of my weapons drawn if I just want that easier and I don't care too much about tracking what's in what hands are open, what hands are not. So the system doesn't force you at this point in time to do something like that. So you can have all your strike and damage buttons, but it's really nice. If you do drop an item on the ground, it doesn't actually get rid of the item. All it does, and it doesn't drop it on the map. It just, for tracking purposes, says you've dropped this somewhere. It does not reduce the bulk. It does not reduce the weight, because this is literally just for you as a convenience to track. And you can pick up one-handed. If it's a two-handed weapon and you drop it, you can choose to pick it up with one hand or pick it up with two hands. With two hands, you'll be able to use it. One hand, you will only be able to change grip or to sheath it on yourself. And so those are all the interesting things that you can get from the Actions tab. So next we'll take a quick look at the Spells tab.